Hello. Hello. Welcome in. I have been very, very productive this whole week. I've been a little sick. Actually, let me move my light. I was a little worried that it might be COVID because I work in a school, so I'm constantly surrounded by people who are exposed to other people and, hundreds and 1,000 people a day. So it's an easy environment to contract things, especially now that masks are no longer required. So only about half the people in the building are wearing them. So yeah, I was feeling really under the weather, and at first it started quite kind of like allergy symptoms, and then it progressed and it became a cough. And then I went to the doctor last week and they were like, oh, you just have a cough because of postnasal drip. Like, all your sinuses are clogged and everything, it has to come out somewhere. So it's all going down your passages and it's causing the cough and, phlegminess or whatever. So they gave me some stuff for the cough, like prednisone and stuff like that. And there were days that it was fine, and then other days that it wasn't, and it just never went away. A week later, it got worse, and it was really bad, and then it started to be, like, wheezy, and then I lost taste and smell for, like, 2 days, and I was like, this is not good. So I called out of work because I didn't want to expose anybody, of course, and, excuse me, I'm still dealing with it. So I went to the doctor yesterday, and I took a rapid at home, of course, and it was negative. But I'm hearing lately that the rapids haven't been turning up the proper results, or they're showing negative and then PCRs were showing positive. So I said, let me go to the doctor anyway. So I went. Hey, Bobby Christine, I love you. Oh, thank you for subbing and activating my Tina kissing boys. Thanks so much. Welcome in. Yeah, so I went to the doctor yesterday and I got a full battery of tests. Like, they gave me a PCR, but they also tested for flu and like RSV and other things. And everything was negative except like an upper respiratory virus. So thankfully it's not COVID, but it is some kind of like chronic recurring upper respiratory thing. So the doctor has now prescribed me some antibiotics, which I have to pick up tomorrow morning. And I took several days off work. And I have been resting because I haven't been feeling well, but I've also been productive. And there were things I've been meaning to do around the house. I've had piles and piles and piles and piles of cards that I needed to sort. Hey, what's up? Welcome in, Faye. Welcome in, Quinn. Yeah, I've had piles and piles and piles of cards that I needed to sort, and I've actually gotten through quite a bit of them. So last night I unboxed a Jumpstart box. I sorted them by color. There are 2 piles of things that I took out because there's some things that thank you so much. I hope my recovery is swift and free of complication. I would love that. Thank you. Yeah, I took out 2 of my Jumpstart packs because I want to do something else with them. So now I just want to put away this pile that I opened yesterday. And if you weren't here yesterday, then you can see what some of my pulls are. The 2 packs that I am keeping aside, I built this deck yesterday. I do have to narrow it down. It's over by 18 cards, which is not that bad. So I'm going to take a look at it after I finish sorting this pile. I'm going to take a look at this deck and see how I can narrow it down. But it's a snow pack, and the commander is Isu the Abominable. It's a new card, I think. And what it does, it's a Yeti. He's a 5/5. And you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play snow lands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. Whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay green, white, or blue. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on Isu the Abominable. So he himself is a little bit Voltron, but he also propels other snow things to come into play as long as you have the mana to play them. So we want to ramp fast, make him big, get a bunch of creatures out, and deal fast damage. And that's kind of like the purpose of this deck, but it's all snow permanents. So, hey, Get Lefty. I have an upper respiratory virus. So at least I finally figured out what the hell is wrong with me, but I have had this just recurring sinus cough weird thing going on, and I just can't shake it. So thankfully it's not COVID, but hopefully now that we know what the hell it is, I can get rid of it. So anyway, yeah, so I'm just kind of like I get like a tickle every now and then, and I feel like I have to clear it. But yeah, since I haven't started my antibiotic yet, I did decide to make myself a little glass of wine in my, my friend made me this, actually. I'll share her link. It's hard to tell because it's very glittery, but it is a poison apple wine glass. So what she did is she kind of like hand designed, with like a special glue, the pattern on the glass, and then I'm hoping not to spill. Maybe the overhead camera will show it a little better. Yeah. She hand designed the pattern on the glass and in glue, glittered it, and then resin coated it so that you don't feel like the grittiness or like rip off any of the glitter. It feels totally smooth and you can wash it. So I'm having a little glass of wine before I start my antibiotics tomorrow because I'm hoping that the alcohol also clears the way. It's probably not the smartest theory, but like it makes sense in my head. Also, I was supposed to go to a dinner party today that I was meant to bring this wine to, and I couldn't attend it because I didn't feel right going because I wasn't feeling well. So I stayed home. I did chores and things around the house, organized, and so now I'm sorting this stuff back into binder sleeves, and I am editing down a couple decks that I have built over the last few days. So, hey Anna, hey Shannibal, I am feeling a little better. I'm feeling better than I have been the last couple days. This week was super rough. I felt like I was just like out of commission. Like I couldn't stop coughing long enough to like stream anything, and I felt like I hadn't streamed in such a long time, and I just felt like really out of the loop. And I miss it, you know, when I don't do it for a while, I really miss it. So, this week was not a great week. I've been busy, I've been sick, I've been, you know, blech. But I'm starting to feel better. I feel like the cough is starting to loosen. I'm getting a antibiotic tomorrow morning, so hopefully that'll get me underway. In the meantime, I'm surviving on prednisone and Mucinex DM, which I can't take for another couple hours, so but yeah, it's been working on the symptoms at least in the meantime. I was just saying I built, I'm sorting the pile of Jumpstart that I opened yesterday. I built this deck after opening it last night because I was really excited about it. So I have to cut 18 cards from this. So after I sort these cards, I will take a look at the Isu pile. The other Jumpstart pile that I also kept aside was called Law, and there's a lot of like Staxy type of stuff in here. But the cards that I liked the best were Michiko Kanda and Magnanimous Magistrate. So Michiko Kanda is whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent. So it kind of deters people from swinging at you. It's not completely Staxy in the sense, it's more pillow fort, which I like. It doesn't shut down somebody's stuff or stop people from doing the thing. It just prevents them from wanting to do it to you, which I like, you know. And she is a creature. She can be easily removed. If you're playing white or mono white, it's unlikely that you'll recur her from the graveyard. You know, maybe, especially at a 4 cost. Usually white recurs things like 3 and under. But yeah, temporarily it gives you a little sense of security, which is nice. And she's a beautiful card, so I like her. Magnanimous Magistrate is also a stunning card. It just has so much, like, power and sass, and I just love it. I think it's so beautiful. It's a little I'm trying not to catch the glare. It's a little hard to see. But she's a stunning card. And it says, it enters the battlefield with 5 reprieve counters on it. Whenever another token creature you control dies, if its mana value is 1 or greater, you may remove that many reprieve counters from Magnanimous Magistrate. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, yeah, I like her. Isamaru, the good dog, is in it. There's a couple good, like, sorceries and stuff in here. So, yeah, I like this set enough that I wanted to set it aside. I also got a couple other really great things in mono white, like Blessed Sanctuary and, you know, like the Unholy sets were really good. But I just want to put them into binder sleeves, and then I know where to find them when I need them. I'm not building anything that needs them right now, so I'm fine with not setting them aside. I actually might put this, yeah, I thought of you, Anna. I know you and I both have Blessed Sanctuary and a bunch of things, so yeah, I pulled one, so that was really fun. I probably don't need this. I set it aside just because I really liked it, but I'm not building anything that's going to use these, so I'll probably sort these back in with everything else as well. My white pile is right on top, so I can start there. I already took out the lands. I know I didn't keep the jumpstart, you know, as packs, but I filmed the opening and I'm going to upload it to YouTube, so that way if I want to play the packs as they were, I have a record of what those packs were. Right? I also got a Lyra Dawnbringer. That was a good pull. And Alseed of Life's Bounty. Angel of Flight Alabaster. Some stuff was pretty good. Let's see. These are legendaries, so I'll keep them in the front of the pile. Okay. Okay. I also got a Captivating Unicorn, which is a common, but, you know, a unicorn nonetheless. Really, Anna? That was your first Magic card? Angel Flight Alabaster? That's so exciting. I couldn't even tell you what my first card was. Because I think I just bought, like... Actually, I was gifted the Lathril deck, so I guess Lathril was my first ever, and I hate it, so, you know, there goes that. Yeah, I really do hate Lathril, and I hate elves in general, so it's pretty funny that that was my first, card and deck, and I have, like, no fond memories of it at all, so. But my second was, the Silver Quill deck, the Orzhov one, but I didn't use Brina as the commander. I used Felisa as the commander. So the first card that I played and liked from in Magic was Felisa. So that I do have fond memories of. I hate elves. I just think that I think what happened was, as a new player, there's a Blessed Sanctuary. As a new player, I found elves very overwhelming to play. The deck was very busy, and it did too many things to keep track of that I wasn't sure how to work it as, like, a day one out the gate player. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it wasn't really, like, explained to me, or the person teaching me how to play didn't really teach me in such a way that I was super grasping what they were telling me. And I just found it slow to learn on. and I didn't have the patience. And like once I saw it played as well, because I had somebody play it against me while I was playing Felisa, and I felt like it just got so busy and there was so much on the board to keep track of, and that person also had a hard time keeping track of it, and it was like I just found it boring to watch and boring to play against. I don't know, I wasn't enjoying playing against it. I wasn't enjoying playing it. There's nothing about it I ever liked. And then once I started playing Magic more frequently and having an understanding of Magic, I watched people play it that knew how to play it. And, you know, they played it in such a way that it got like out of hand and there was 5 bajillion elves, and it just wasn't fun for me. I was like, this is annoying. Like, this is an irritating thing to play against. Like, I was playing precon, so I was limited to whatever the precons had, you know? It wasn't like I was chock full of removal. And I didn't even understand the concept of, like, needing to include removal for things like this, you know? Like, I still was so new that I didn't know all of the possible things that could happen in a game. And I just was like, ew, this is so, like, gross. This is so out of hand. There's nothing fun about this, you know? Like, and every elf player that I've ever played with was so smug about making a bajillion elves. Like, it wasn't enough that they were like, okay, I made 40 elves, I'm gonna swing out, like, blah, 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 good game. All right, let's play another one. Like, it wasn't, like, chill and cool and, like, you know, banter. It was like, and then, I made 40 elves. Like, it was, like, extra smiley and super laughy and like, and I was like, really, dude? Like, are you grown up? Cause chill. You're, like, a little smidge too excited about this. Like, you know? And even now, like, I have decks that make 50 bajillion things. Like, I love to fucking Storm Herd and make 40 fucking Pegasus. Like, but am I, like, fucking twirling my mustache and tying a lady to the tracks as I do it? No, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna Storm Herd. Does it resolve? Yeah? Okay, I make fucking 40 Pegasus. You know? Like, I don't know, I just felt like every elf player was so up their ass about making 1,000,000 elves that I just never liked elves. And I never, even watching it play successfully, never once did I desire that deck. I was never like, ooh, I want to play that and play it well. Like, not a single time. And I still don't. I hate elves. Anytime somebody... It would be pretty funny if I did, right? Every time somebody, like, every time I'm building a deck and I happen to have, like, green in it, like, if I'm adding an elf to it, I'm like, ooh, is there another card that I could add that kind of does the same thing? Like, I rarely add elves. Like, I hate them so much that I will only add an elf, like, in dire straits. Like, if there's nothing else that does the thing that the elf does. And I don't build green often, you know? Like, I only have a few decks that have green in it. I'm starting to build a little bit more green, just because the things I want to build are, going to require that. Like, I just built, one of the decks that I'm hoping to edit down today is an all Ajani deck, and as a result, I needed to build, not heavily in green, but at least halfway in green. But yeah, elves continue to be the bane of my existence. What is your favorite Naya deck, Shanabal? Oh yeah, Atla. I do like Atla, but Atla's not elfy, you know? It's just kind of like a different... It's a different deck. I do really like Atla, though. I've always had fun watching Atla. Atla is a fun deck. I'll allow it. Okay. White is done. On to Stinky Green. I got a bunch of really good red, so red is next after green. Red is pretty fun. I got like a bunch of what you'll call it. Hey, got us a blender. Thanks for the raid. Welcome in. I got a bunch of goblins in the red jumpstart pack. So oh, and the jumpstarts this time, they all come with, each pack has one each pack has one anime card. So I got like Arlen in this pack is the anime card. So she's really cute. I like putting planeswalkers a little bit separate. I got a Zask too. So that's fun. Insects. Insect BBs. I got a wolf deck, so there's one that has a bunch of wolves in it. I got a Courser of Crewfix. That was a good pull. I know Dust Shell Crawler is a common, but I've put it in a bunch of stuff. Or at least I've considered it for a bunch of things. So it's a good pull in my opinion if it's useful, you know? If you're doing like counter things. Like 1/1 counters. I did get an elf thing, so I have like a bunch of elves. I'm like, bleh. The first pack I opened from the box was an Unholy box. Oops. Put these together. And so it was like mono white and like heavy like angels and things like that, and it had the Blessed Sanctuary, so that was fun. And then the second one I opened was a black box. It was the 13, so it had like all the like Triskaidekaphile and or Triskaidekaphobia or whatever. I know one's blue, one's black, but whatever the black one is. And it had the Tree of Perdition. So yeah, it was in there. Tree of Perdition is another one of my first time playing Nightmares. Actually, I played against it with that shitty elf deck. And it was not a fun experience. To anybody who has heard the story, it is like, it remains one of the banes of my existence. So I'm traumatized by it. So even though, and I said on stream as I opened it, that I think maybe the way to get over my trauma is to play it. So I was like, if I, like this, I felt like that, those two packs, the first two packs that I opened, if I were to treat it like a true jumpstart and actually play those packs, playing an Orzhov deck that is both combination of Unholy and 13 is like perfect for me. That's so up my alley because I am a 13 fanatic. First of all, I'm a mono white fanatic and I love angels, so that's fun. But also I was born on Friday the 13th on a full moon, so I actually have an affinity for like bad luck symbols and the number 13. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of a little part of me. So so yeah, as much as I'm traumatized by Tree of Perdition, I really want to love it. I'm a spooky bitch. Get Lefty, you have a 60 card Triskaidekaphobia deck. What kind of deck is it? Is it like a standard, modern, like, what is it? And I also, by the way, I don't know the difference between standard and modern. I feel like they're maybe the same thing. I'm sure I'm wrong, but somebody tell me. I want to get into other, standard is the latest 5 sets. Gotcha. That makes sense. That's kind of easy because it's not too difficult to, like, you know, figure out what's legal in it. But you constantly have to be, like, brewing new decks, and then, like, what happens to your old ones, you know? Then nothing. Ugh. Bio, did you lose? Tell me you lost. Bio played elves tonight, on stream. I want to learn Pioneer. I don't know the rules of it. Like, I don't know how to build in Pioneer, but I want to. I just started Pauper because I feel like that's the easiest for me to understand, you know, like, the rules of. I hate Lathril. Trivial encounters. I don't know at what point you came in, but I went through an extensive story of why of when and how and why my hatred for Lathril and elves has began. So I just hate it. You're late to the party. Poor choice of words. Tardy for the party is correct. And yeah, the moral of the story is I just fucking hate Lathril. Anywho, these are the goblins that I pulled in my Jumpstart box. I pulled Muxus, Ardaws, Kiki-Jiki, Mizzix, Krenko, Arms Dealer, and Battle Squadron. So, this Jumpstart box was chock full of the best gobos, pretty much. So I got pretty lucky there. That was good pulls. And there's, of course, other goblins in here, but they're less impressive, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't the same Jumpstart pack, but it was across like 2 goblin Jumpstart packs. But I got all like really good ones. I got Rummaging Goblin, Subterranean Scout, Volley Veteran. Yeah, so I got all good goblins. And I also got a professional face breaker in one of my packs. So my red hits were really strong in this Jumpstart box. So I think I got like 3 packs, 2 or 3 packs of red. Yeah, 3 it had to be, because 2 of them were goblins and 1 was something else. But they were all really good packs, so yeah. I pulled some great gobos. Yeah. Yeah, Professional Facebreaker is in Jumpstart now. Everything I'm sorting right now just came from a Jumpstart 22 box. So all I did was open the packs, sort them by color, and then I sorted them by type and alphabetized them. So that way, if I'm looking for a specific thing, I can really easily find it. I started with lands and legendaries, and then just regular creatures. But yeah, it's in Jumpstart packs. There's some hot shit in there. I didn't pull anything that was like super popular right now, like the monkey, Kibo, and the bunny. I didn't pull him either. But I did pull Isu, the Abominable, and I built a deck out of him immediately. So like I pulled him last night, I built him last night. And he was a really easy build, which was super fun. I'm over by 18 cards. I need to narrow him down, so I'm going to do that immediately after I'm done sleeving these. Because my problem in the past was unboxing a fuck ton of stuff and then never putting it away. And I have just been overrun with cards all around me, and I'm trying to be better at organizing it so that I can find things when I'm deck building and not have to rebuy a bunch of stuff over and over. But also get bulk aside and work on bettering my trade binder. I also got this really good organizer that you can kind of see the bottom of just here in my camera. It is 24 drawer organizer, and I got it at the Container Store. So the drawers pull out and they hold like 2 piles of cards, more than a deck, but 2 piles of cards laid down side by side. You can pull them out completely. Holds about that much. And I also put like dice in there and, you know, any proxies I have or tokens that I want to easily find. And while I'm sorting, I might, like if I've sorted things into piles but haven't sleeved them yet, or maybe I'm out of sleeves or whatever, I'll put them in here, already sorted by color and already sorted, just waiting to be put into sleeves. And that way they're not just like laying around in piles all over me and I don't knock them over and things like that. So I have found it really, really helpful. It's also the perfect height that I've mounted my overhead camera on it. Yeah, so it has been very practical for me. I'm very happy with that purchase. And it can be, I have it on right on my desk. My desk is an L shape, so this is pushed back into the far corner, the point of it, which is a spot that I don't really utilize. So I have it pushed back into the corner. It doesn't take, I still have tons of desk space. As you can see, my full playmat fits in the space in front of it. But it can be wall mounted. So if you prefer to actually drill it into the wall, it has drill holes and things like that. You can wall mount it if you like. I'm not sponsored by them. I just really like this product. I actually went for a completely different product. They had these little organizers for your kitchen spices or something that actually like pulled down like on a slant, you know. And I wanted those, but they didn't have them in stock, and they didn't know when they were going to be getting them. So I looked around for any other possible solution, and I found this, and I measured it out to make sure that the cards would fit in either like horizontally or whatever, and they did. So I was like, all right, I'll try this out. And I actually really love it. I don't really need the cards to be standing up straight and pull down. It's perfectly fine. Just, you know, as it is. Oh, man, really too? Oh, so annoying. I hate using like a whole sleeve for just two cards. I guess I'll start the next color on the back so that it doesn't feel like a total waste. We're on black. Actually, let's do colorless. I'll do colorless on the back. That makes more sense. Yeah. I'll just start it on the same page. I likely won't be getting any more of this particular jumpstart because there's so many jumpstarts that are coming out. Unless I buy singles. So I don't think I'll be adding too much more to this binder. I'm glad that I came up with this solution because this was perfect and I feel better about it. I also put my Evolving Wilds with it. I'm gonna get some more sleeves behind me. Where did I put them? I put them somewhere. See, that's what happens when you clean and organize. Then you can't find things because it wasn't just in the same old messy pile that you used to have them in. So now I'm like, huh, I did move those sleeves, huh? They are somewhere and I'm gonna find them. Hold on a sec. I currently have a mess of bags in my room, my office, because this is my most private room in the house and nobody ever really goes in here except for me. So this is where all my Christmas presents come, because then nobody will find them, especially like, you know, when my mom comes to visit. There's nothing like just laying around for her to see, or, you know, any of my friends or anything like that. So I keep everything, especially gift-wise, in my office so that nobody will ever see it. And so beside me, I have some things that I bought for myself that I have to put away, like a new pair of Doc Martens, and some gifts as well that have to be wrapped. And then once I wrap them, I'll put them under my tree. Not only because it looks festive and nice, but it gets them the hell out of my office. So I am starting to feel a little crowded and cluttered by the extra objects, you know? So it'll be nice to just wrap them and get them out of the way. Okay, excuse me. I brought my wine and I haven't sipped it yet, so I will do that in a second. We just have black and blue, a bruise left. I prefer red wine. I like a bold heavy wine. I like Cabernet. I like things that are like, I don't know, casky and oaky and chocolatey, berry. I don't really love sweet wines. And I don't love white as much as I love red. I prefer red. But when I drink white, I like it to be minerally and flinty. I like it to taste a little metallic as opposed to like sweet or fruity. So in other words, I like it to taste like I'm drinking pennies. I don't know why it sounds good. I know I'm making it sound really bad because pennies taste like shit, but like in terms of white wine, it's actually quite good and it's my preference. But I feel like white wine lately has been giving me like agita, you know, it makes me like feel tight in the chest and gives me like indigestion almost. I feel like it like I taste it all day, but because I've been nursing this sore throat, I really wanted something cold. Which of course, again, is probably counterintuitive. What I should have had, it was a hot toddy, but that's a lot of work, and I don't know that I have all the proper ingredients for it. And I wasn't gonna half-ass a hot toddy, right? If I'm gonna make a hot toddy, I'm gonna make a good hot toddy. So white wine was easy enough. It was in my fridge. It was already planned to go to a dinner party tonight that I was too sick to go to. So I drank it. Well, I didn't drink it. I'm drinking it. And what the fuck? What did I do? Oh. Huh. Okay. That one just is weird. Yeah, so I wanted something cold. Little lubrication in the throat. And, oh, fuck. This isn't the one. Damn it. I have two types of sleeves, and this is not the one I like. These are the ones I like. These are actually double-sided. They have a slot in the front and a slot in the back. These don't. These only have one slot, so you kind of have to, like, do one of those if you want it. I know some people don't like doing that because they feel like it ruins the cards, but I'm more than happy putting 2 or 3 cards in one slot. They're thin enough, especially that most of these are commons. I don't think there's anything in here super worth a lot. The ones that are got their own slot. Throat lube, Anna, throat lube. I'm glad you're here for that. Thank you. I'm lubing my baby up with wine tonight. Just wine. We're lonely tonight, so the only lube in my throat is wine. I'm too sick for anything else. I don't want to contaminate anyone. I love that you had some wine. I'm happy for you because I still feel bad that I drank your wine in Gen Con. But to be fair, I really needed it that day. It was a really, really bad day. And it was a bad time for you to not be there when I got there and needed wine. And I was like, oh, Anna's not here, but there's her wine and I'm drinking it. I saw, Shannibal, that you bought pumpkin beer. Look, here it is. Here's the bane of my existence, the tree of perdition. I'm gonna play you and overcome you one day. I saw you bought pumpkin beer. I love pumpkin beer, but I will say, a couple years ago, I went on a pumpkin beer hunt because I wanted, like, to try really good beers, right? Like, I wanted to try, like, what might be the best one or whatever. And, there wasn't that many options, unfortunately, like, at the time. And then the next year, it, like, blew up. There was, like, 20 different pumpkin beers, right? So, like, the one year I went, there wasn't that many, and I was like, well, whatever, I'll take what I can get. They're fine enough. And then the next year, it was, like, an overwhelming amount of options, which was great. Like, cool. I bought a bunch of pumpkin beers. But then I noticed that all of them taste really different, and there were some that just were not good, and I was disappointed. I was like, oh man, this isn't at all what I thought I was getting myself into. And then there were some that were really delicious, but then, like, by the time the next year came around, I couldn't remember which ones were good and which ones weren't. I was like, shit, was this the one I liked or didn't like, you know? And so I'm, like, really wary of buying pumpkin beer because sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's absolute garbage, and I'm like, ugh. It's so disappointing when you expect the best and you get, like, mediocre beer. It sucks. I do like a local brewery beer. And yes, Shannibal, I am down to make a trip closer to MagicCon. Especially, there's where I grew up. I grew up in this town called North Bergen, New Jersey. It is just outside of New York City. And if you are, there's no claim to fame in North Bergen, New Jersey. It's very, very near Hoboken, which is where Frank Sinatra was from and grew up. So there are many famous towns around North Bergen. North Bergen just happens to be in the right place at the right time, but isn't really famous for anything in particular. Actually, it should be, because James J. Braddock, the boxer, who the premise of the movie Cinderella Man was around him, he was from North Bergen. So we have a really big, beautiful park in North Bergen that has a James J. Braddock statue in it. So it should be a little bit more famous than it is, but it's not, because I don't think the town was ever mentioned in the movie. So a lot of people didn't know that, and, you know, but that's the most famous thing to come out of North Bergen. Anyway, New Jersey Beer Company is a relatively new beer company. It's probably within the last, like, 10 years or so. And their factory and their brewery is based out of North Bergen, New Jersey, which is crazy because that's, like, the coolest thing in North Bergen. So yeah, they have this awesome brewery, and they make this one beer that usually is around this time of year, and I hope that they're still making it. It's very fucking strong, but it's amazing, and it's called the Wee Heavy. It is like a mix of a porter and a stout. But also like a barrel ale, kind of. Like, it's hard to describe, but it is so fucking good. It's it puts you on your ass for sure. But, and I remember, we have this local bar that's basically our Cheers, right? Like, everybody that goes there knows each other, and it's like, they've been going there for years type of shit. And then, like, they'll bring somebody that they know or bring somebody younger, and then that person becomes indoctrinated and it becomes their Cheers, and then they bring somebody 10 years later. You know, it's like, it just is a chain, right? So this bar, it's called the Wild Rover, and it's in Guttenberg, which is the town neighboring North Bergen. But Guttenberg's only like 4 blocks. They have one elementary school, and the students from that elementary school go to North Bergen High, because Guttenberg is like yay big. So it's basically like North Bergen Junior. So The Wild Rover, though technically in Gothenburg, is a very famous North Bergen spot. And the day they're owned by an Irish man, and he has, you know, an Irish accent. He's very endearing and charming, and his name is Sean. And Sean purchased the New Jersey Beer Company We Heavy on tap, and he started serving it to people, not realizing, because he's just a traditional bartender, so he was pouring it in pint glasses, and he didn't realize that there are some beers that you should pour smaller because they're heavier. And he was pouring it in pint glasses, and he, you know, just looked around, and he literally stops and asks us, and he's like, why the fuck is everyone so wasted? And it was because everybody was ordering the Wee Heavy in the giant glasses, and he got everybody tanked, and he's like, oh fuck, I'm supposed to serve them in smaller glasses? And we're like, Sean, what the fuck? I mean, I thought you were just giving it to me because you know me, and you're like, here's a deal, you know, like, here, have the big glass. But now he knows, of course, and he serves them in the appropriate glasses, and he's like, you know, up to date on like what the new beers are like and what pours should be like. But he just, you know, didn't know, because he's like, all right, well, we pour Guinness and we pour Smithwick's and we pour Harp, and it just goes in a pint glass, and here you go, you know. So when he started getting these new beers, he was like, why is everybody so freaking wasted? And we're like, hate to break it to you, but you've been pouring these awfully generously. It's like 11%. So, yeah, it was a fun time to watch that happen. I have a wine right now, Proxy. It's a white wine, which is not my favorite, but I've been nursing a little bit of a cough, so I want something cold in my throat. And we made lots of throat coat jokes already about that. So yeah, that's how we got on this topic. Thank you. Cheers. What type Pinot is what you're having tonight, but white is your favorite? I'm the opposite. Cabernet is my favorite, but I'm having white tonight. What? Oh, you're having Pinot Grigio or Pinot Noir? Because you say Pinot and I think Noir immediately because I'm a red wine drinker. But, are you having Pinot Grigio? Ugh, I wish you still were in New Jersey, Anna, because I would come over. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to stop drinking right now so I could drive to your house and we'll have wine. I have so much wine, first of all. Yeah, Cab Sav is my favorite red. For white, I like, I was saying I like minerally and flinty wines, things that taste more metallic. So I do like a Pinot Grigio. I like, I actually like Albariños. They're really hard to find, but they're Argentinian, and they are just perfect. I think they taste so lovely, and if you can find an Albariño, they are fantastic. I actually really love a Riesling. Riesling's a good choice. Shan, you can be here in an hour and a half, so, like, just come. My door is open. I never sleep, so just come whenever. I have a spare room. You're free to stay. Come and have a wine with me. I actually have an overflow of wine. I have so much wine right now because for Thanksgiving I hosted, and there were 6 of us, right? And I figured, because we're drinkers, at worst case, maybe not worst case, but at best case scenario, I thought people would at least drink a bottle of wine each, right? Roughly, throughout the night. 4 or 5 glasses each, right? So I wanted to prepare at least for a bottle of wine each, but you want to give options because you don't know that everybody's going to want to drink the same thing, right? So I bought 9 bottles of wine so that people could choose what they wanted and that there was more than enough. And if there's extra because whatever, you know, like it'll get drank eventually, right? So I bought 9 bottles of wine. And then I figured, okay, well, I have this dinner party coming up, so maybe I'll just bring a bottle to the dinner party, and then, you know, I'll do away with one of the bottles that way, and whatever. So anyway, I bought these 9 bottles of wine, and then my guests all turned up with their own drinks. So they brought champagne, somebody brought like a bottle of gin and mixers to like make like cocktails during appetizers. So we had cocktails, we had champagne, and then somebody else brought wine. So I bought 9 bottles and none of it got drank, not a sip. So now I have 9 bottles of wine, which is not that much of a problem. So I figured, hey, why not have some now, because I just have it lying around and I could use a little cleansing. So I'm having some wine. In my shiny bedazzled poison apple cup. My friend made it for me. She's actually fantastic. She has a really great small shop. She's changed the name of her small shop recently, so I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, her Instagram is called Magically Natania, Natania. But she has a link tree attached to Magically Natania, and you can shop all her small shops. So she has an Etsy, but she also has a website, and she has 2 shops that she's like laying over. One is called Magically Sparkled, and that tends to be more like fandom and Disney based and things like that. And the other one is called Silas and Spark, and that is more general, like fun patterns and things like that. That's not necessarily fandom. And she makes phone cases. She made my phone case, actually. It's Lady Tremaine and Lucifer. I actually really love Lucifer and Lady Tremaine, and I feel like she's an underrepresented villain. I love her so much. So my friend had these phone cases on sale for $6, and I was like, how can I not? So I bought this phone case because I really absolutely needed it. And it like comes over the front. It's really well protected, and these are her links. So it's Magically Natania, and you can see that she has a Silas and Spark on Etsy and Magically Sparkled as well. This particular glass, it is stainless on the inside, and on the outside it has a lid on it. So it stays cool because it's stainless. What she did was she used a special adhesive and hand designed the poison apple pattern, and hand glittered it herself, and then she resin coated it. So it's completely smooth. You don't feel the glitter at all, and you can wash it, and the glitter does like lip over the bottom, so you don't feel anything. It's completely smooth. It's of course hand wash only, but yeah, she's done an excellent job, and it was well worth it. I bought a pair of them because you just can't have one, right? You know, you want to enjoy it with your friends and clink. So she did a fantastic job. This particular one, because of the quality of the glass and because of it being stainless and having a lid and all that stuff, I think she was charging like $40 a mug. So with shipping and everything, it was like $90 for the pair. But I, you know, I'm happy to pay that to a small creator when I know what the quality of the work is going to be. And, you know, offhand, you're like, wow, 2 glasses for $90 sounds like a lot. But, you know, I'm going to use this a million times, and this is so unique and special. There's nothing like this. And this is like made by hand by somebody. So I really appreciate the work, and I appreciate the quality of the actual glassware. It's really good. You know, I figured that if I go find a tumbler like this, I'm probably going to pay $20 for it anyway. So, you know, if I was going to spend $45 on just the tumblers alone, like what's paying another $45 for the work that comes on it, you know? So I do find ways to justify it for things that are worth it. And plus, you know, she sells other stuff that's so cheap, like $6 for this phone case. Come on. So, you know, yeah, a lot of people don't understand the price. It sounds off-putting at first, but so much work goes into it. You know, and if I have it, you know, right now I'm broke as a joke because I've been spending too much money on magic cards, and travel. I've been traveling a lot. But, yeah, to be fair, when I had the money, if I have it, why not, you know? I'm gonna move over to my Mox field so that you can take a look at the Isu deck. And I will put the Isu deck in the chat so you can follow along if you want to see it on your own screen as well. Let me make sure my OBS is set for that. Let's see. Website. Aha, here we are. Okay. Move it over just a bit. Ooh. Trying to get it in frame so you could see what I see. It's having a hard time fitting, but that's pretty good, I guess. You'll miss out on a little corner of the page, but maybe if I don't maximize it. That looks right. That's better. If I don't maximize it. There you go. That looks good. Okay. So, Isu, I need to cut 17 cards from it. Excuse me. Yay, you caught the Pokemon. I'm so glad. I love that game. I love when people engage with it. So, first of all, I named the deck Yeti Freddy because I wanted to play on words on Ready Freddy, but I didn't want it to be the name Freddy. I wanted it to be Fret, as in, like, I'm worried. So, I named it Yeti Freddy. And the deck is based off of a Voltron commander called Isu the Abominable. He's a Yeti. And it is a snow deck. I've never built a snow deck before, so this is my very first snow deck. And it says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play snow lands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. Whenever a snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay green, white, or blue, and if you do, put a 1/1 counter on Isu the Abominable. Almost everything in my deck is snow permanents, including the lands, which is great because snow lands count as snow permanents and they will get +1 counters on the Yeti. So what I first did was I went to Scryfall and I looked up every possible snow permanent that exists in the colors green, white, and blue. And there are 71. So I added them all to the deck, including basic lands, which I knew I was going to add more of. So basically, I could have just had a deck already by doing nothing more than adding all the snow permanents and filling the other 30 with basic snow lands. But that's not necessarily optimized, and there were some snow permanents that weren't amazing. I think I moved some of them to considering, and some of them I just plain out removed because they were so bad. But if you look so far, my deck... Oh, I froze. I don't know if it's me, my internet, or... Oh no! I'm frozen! Oh, are you back? Are you back, internet? Is my mouse dead? What's happening? Hello? Hello? I don't know what happened. Alright, I'm back. Can you see me? Am I fucked up? Okay, good. You hear me. Yay. Am I back? I don't know what happened. I guess my internet must have restarted or something. Had a little glitch in the matrix. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to optimize this deck more than just adding those snow permanents. It didn't feel good enough, and if you look, yeah, I put some stuff in considering, and some stuff I just flat out was like, ew, no way, like, it's just not good. So, like, this, for example, Phyrexian Juggernaut, I put it in considering, because it's a snow permanent, but it's not amazing. This one, too. Like, Rimehorn Aurochs has Trample. Whenever Rimehorn Aurochs attacks, it gets +1 until the end of turn for each other attacking Auroch. I looked it up. I was like, how many Aurochs can there possibly fucking be in Magic, right? There are 4. 4 total Aurochs in Magic, period. This one is the only snow one. So unless I have something that's duplicating it, like a Helm of the Hopes or something, there's no way that I'm ever going to have a multitude of Aurochs to make this worthwhile. So I was like, this is stupid. So yes, I hate losing another snow permanent when the purpose of the deck is to propel the snow permanents, but this is useless. Why would I ever want this in the air? So I put it in considering just to talk shit about it, basically. But it has no purpose for me in the deck. There were some other things I added to optimize, but it just got too green heavy. And I didn't want that. Because the commander's color identity on its own is blue. So I really wanted it to be more blue heavy and even white heavy. Like, I wanted it to be wintry. And I wanted green to be utilitarian, but not overwhelming. And funny enough, as much as I love white, white is the least of the color identities in this deck. White only makes up 15%. Blue 42 and green 40 at the moment. We'll see where we are when we cut down. But yeah, I put 36 lands. I usually lean around 35, but there was a reason why I went with 36. I don't remember what it was, or maybe I added something, but anyway, here we are. We're at 36. Most of them are snow lands and snow permanents. I wanted also things that specifically said forest or island, so that when I play cards that search for a forest or search for an island, I can search for these, and not just the snow-covered basics, but the duels as well. And then some purposeful things like Rogue's Passage. I want to make sure my commander's unblockable if he's getting buffed and I want to deal commander damage. This is Snowland. I also added Homeward Path because I hate my creatures being stolen, and I put that shit in everything. Dark Depths really pained me because it's a $21 land, and I didn't want to make this deck any more expensive. When I put in the permanents alone without the lands, my deck was like $100 with just the snow permanents first. And then, of course, I added some things that are a little bit pricier, and it ramped the price up. But the lands, of course, make everything more expensive. Homeward Path is $21. Some of these Reliquary Towers like $5. So some of these things ramp up the price. But for sure, Dark Depths pained me to have to include, but it is a snow land, and it does do a really good thing. You know, it enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters. You can pay to remove an ice counter from Dark Depths. When it has no ice counters on it, you can sacrifice it, and if you do, you create a Merit Lage, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So that's pretty nasty. It does a good thing. I added a Heuristic Study, which is a $40 card, much to my chagrin. So, you know, I'm trying to keep this deck reasonable, but there are some cards that, of course, just are not reasonable. Like Exploration is a $28 card, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's just what it costs. So at the moment, it's a $608 deck, which is not the worst. I have some decks that are over $1,000, so it's not the worst. And a majority of the permanents that I don't have are these like quarter penny things, you know. I do have a Jeweled Lotus. So yes, the Jeweled Lotus is driving up the price. It's $120, but I have one. So that's a little lesser of my problems. The only reason I'm including a Jeweled Lotus is because Isu has 2 blue. So it is beneficial to have 3 mana of the same color type. And I'm expecting Isu to get removed. So even if I don't have Jeweled Lotus in an opening hand to cast him really quickly, it would be nice to have Jeweled Lotus later in game in case he gets removed. And I can play him out faster. So, yes. Exploration is in your bulk, Anna? What the hell? Oh, Shanable says Dark Depths is getting reprinted. Where is it getting reprinted? Because that is great. That's great news. You would cut Frost Raptor. Let me see. Where's Frost Raptor? Because I narrowed it by... I hate when I narrowed it by mana value, but I'm going to narrow it by name now because otherwise I won't be able to find what the hell you're talking about. Am I bananas? Why can't I see it? What the hell is Frost Raptor? What are you talking about? A creature? Why am I not seeing it? Oh, there it is. Okay, found it. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with flying. Frost. You pay 2 snow. Frost Raptor can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. That's fine. I just like that it's a flyer, and people are often ill-equipped to deal with flyers, which is amazing to me. But yeah, you're right. It's not amazing. It's good because it's a flyer, and it's good because it's a snow permanent, but it's not amazing. You're right. I don't want to impose a set rule of how, like, a certain number of things to include, but for reference, we have 35 creatures, we have 12 sorceries, 14 instants, 9 artifacts, 10 enchantments, and 36 lands. Personally, I feel like 14 instants and 12 sorceries is a lot. However, I do see the benefits of the instants and sorceries that I've chosen. So I'm struggling to remove some because I think they're all very good, though I do think it's a lot. And 35 creatures is also a lot. So realistically, I know I have to cut something from everything. I'm comfortable with 9 artifacts. I think these artifacts are well chosen. I have an Arcane Signet. I have an Arkham's Astrolabe, which to me sounds like Scrotum's Astroglide labia. So it sounds so phallic and like sexual. There's so much pornographic about this card that I just can't cut it. It's 1 snow basic, 1 snow whatever. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So it's a draw card, right? And then you can pay 1 to add 1 mana of any color, which is useful. I think it's not bad. And I just love the name of it, so I'm keeping it. I put a Bident of Thassa because whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. I want to make sure that I have consistent card draw, even though the commander itself allows me to play things off the top. It only allows me to play permanents. So if I can draw cards, it'll allow me to draw... Oh no, actually, not permanents. Snow spells. So if I encounter a spell that's not a snow spell, I can see it, but I can't play it off the top. So at least I can try to find ways to draw it, right? Or at least draw whatever's on top. If I can't afford to play it, I can draw it into my own hand, right? So I still want card draw, even though I'm playing things off the top. So yeah, I like that this draws me cards. And creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. You know, so it's like a little goading action. Cold Steelheart comes into play tapped. As it comes into play, choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color. That's awesome. Shadow Spear. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. I just want to give my commander trample so that that commander damage is ensured to go through. That's my reasoning for that. Replicating Ring. Add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a might counter on Replicating Ring. Then if it has 8 or more might counters on it, night counters, sorry. If it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicated Ring with add 1 mana of any color. So you're basically creating tokens that just generate mana, which is great. Jeweled Lotus, Soul Ring, of course, and Icebind Pillar. Tap an artifact or creature. So you can tap down 1 thing an opponent has to prevent blockers or to prevent attackers, which is nice. It's a good strategy, good thing to have. And these ramp pieces, of course, are important. 10 enchantments, I don't think is that bad. We have Aqueous Form, Enchanted creature can't be blocked when that creature attacks scry 1. Audacity, enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. When it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So it gives my commander trample and allows me card draw. Exploration, play additional lands on each of my turn, which is sick. I need that because it's a matter of ramping. It's a matter of being like, if I'm playing cards off the top and I've already played a land for turn, if I look at the top and it happens to be a land, I want to be able to play it. So, and not just like leave it on top and get no value off of what I can play off the top. So being able to play extra lands for turn is important to me because when I look at the top, if it's a land and I've already played a land for turn, I still want to be able to play more lands. So exploration allows me to play an extra land for turn. And I've also added Azusa, which allows me to play 2 additional lands on each of my turns. So I can play 3 lands on my turn as long as she sticks around, which is great if I'm able to play snow things off the top. Gelid Shackles, enchanted creature can't block, and its activated abilities can't be played. Enchanted creature gains defender until the end of turn. So this is kind of like an imprisoning effect, but it is a snow enchantment. Another snow enchantment, I can enchant a land. Enchanted land is now snow. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. We have Merit Lage's Slumber, and then On Thin Ice is another snow enchantment. Enchants no land you control. When it enters the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. So it imprisons something. I put a Rancor in here. It gives my commander trample. And then when it's put into the graveyard, I return Rancor to the owner's hand. So as long as it's not exiled, I can continue to cast Rancor. Heuristic Study, of course, to be able to draw cards. And Winter's Rest. I tap an enchanted creature and that creature cannot untap. So I think the enchantments and artifacts that I do have are pretty okay. I'm fine with maybe removing 1, maybe 2 enchantments, though I really like where I'm at there. I want to maybe cut down some instants, cut down some sorceries, and cut down some creatures. That's kind of where I want to go. I'm going to look up Oracle of Moldiah. That's, Shannibal suggested that. Yeah. See, Oracle of Moldiah, though, gives you an ability that my commander already does, right? I can play things off the top, and I don't have to reveal it. I don't have to play with it uncovered. The only thing it does is helps me play an additional land per turn. But I already have Azusa, and I already have, the enchantment doing that. So I don't super need anything else that does that, because that's just too much. I don't have any tutors in here. I'm just going to play it as is. But let's cut maybe a couple instants, a couple sorceries, and a couple creatures. Alright, Akroma's Will. You can cast... If you control your commander, it does both things. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until the end of turn. Creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors until the end of turn. It's an instant. It's a one-time use. It's pretty good for big damage and... or like, big protection against, like, I don't know, removal or counter spells. An offer you can't refuse. Counter target spell. Its controller creates 2 treasures. Arcane Denial. Counter target spell. That spell's caster may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. And then I draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So I counter something and draw a card from it. But it also doesn't give people feel bads because they can draw 2 cards off of it. Delay. Counter target spell. If the spell is countered this way, exile it with 3 time counters on it instead of putting it into the owner's graveyard. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. Fierce Guardianship. If you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. That's great. I love a free spell. And you counter target non-creature spell. Flawless Maneuver. If you control a commander, you may cast this spell for free. Creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. Graven Lore. This is a snow instant, and it's a good one. Scry X, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell, and then draw 3 cards. So if you use all snow permanents, all 5, then you get to scry 5 and draw 3 cards. Heroic Intervention. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Impulse. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 1 of them in your hand and the rest to the bottom in any order. Path to Exile. I like being able to exile things that are indestructible. I don't want to give people life, so I don't like Swords to Plowshare as much as, you know, get a basic. And some people don't even run that many basics. If this is played late game enough, they might not even have any basics to get. So I like this much better than Swords to Plowshares. Late game, gaining people life is not a good idea. Solidarity of Heroes. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each target beyond the first. Choose any number of target creatures, double the number of counters on each of them. Since I'm giving my commander counters, this is going to benefit my own commander. Swan Song is my least favorite. Counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 bird. Swan Song is really only good if I'm countering like some other removal against me, but yeah, I feel like it's probably not as... I know it's super useful, but I don't know. It's my least favorite of the instance. Tameo Safekeeping. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn, and you gain 2 life. And then Teferi's Protection, which is like an auto-include on anything white. I did not replace for Counterspell because Counterspell takes 2 blue. And a lot of these other counters are 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 colorless, 1 blue, things like that. 1 mana. They share a colorless, so I can have out whatever permanents and not require 2 blues necessarily. So I didn't include Counterspell because of its heavy dependence on blue mana. Yeah, so everything feels good. Everything feels like it should be here. I just feel like it's too many. 14 instants is a lot. So is 12 sorceries. I usually run like 2 sorceries in a deck. So the fact that I am this heavy with sorceries and instants makes me feel weird. Shannibal, stop giving me green creatures to add. You're just adding hella green. This is like a blue commander. Like, please don't give me any more green. That's exactly what Bobby was doing. I was building this. Bobby Christine was building a deck with like physical cards, and I was building this with Bobby, and she kept adding green stuff, and I was like, stop making this green. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my nasal passages. I do like Settle a Wreckage, but I don't want to add anything. I feel like I'm good with the things that I do have. I also don't want to add like too many things that I just use in every deck, because I want every deck. I don't know what ad it was. I have no idea what ads you see. I have no choice, by the way. Whenever you get an ad, I have 0 idea what it is. So apologies for whatever ads you're seeing. I have no control over what they are. I don't even know what they are. But yeah. Bobby Christine kept getting me to add green things. Oh, Doritos. I love Doritos. Bobby Christine kept adding green things, and I'm like, Bobby, you need to stop suggesting green things to me because this deck is like hella green already. And I'm like, the commander's color identity is mostly blue. Let's try to keep it like blue-ish, you know? And I was saying, Settle the Wreckage is great. I love it, but I don't want to add anymore. I want to delete. And I think that I'm in a good place with the things that I do have. I like it. I'm happy with what I do have. I don't want to add anymore because also I don't want to lean into things that I use in like every deck, right? I wanted to add things in this that makes this a little bit more unique. And I've never played with snow permanents ever. So this is really exciting for me. I also didn't want to add too many things that weren't snow permanents because I wanted to maximize on what the snow permanents I do have are. So, like, a Chroma's Will I see a big benefit from. An Offer You Can't Refuse counters a non-creature spell. So does Swan Song. I don't think I need both. I do like Arcane Denial because it targets any spell. So does Delay. Fierce Guardianship counters a non-creature spell. And it gives no benefit to the other player, unlike Offer You Can't Refuse and Swan Song. So, I think I'm going to cut Offer. I'm going to move it to Considering. Because I don't need 3 removal pieces that do the same thing. I like Flawless Maneuver. I like the Gravenlore. Heroic Intervention kind of does what Flawless Maneuver does. Impulse, I'm less excited about. So I'm going to move it to Considering in case I decide that that was a bad choice. Tamio's Safekeeping just feels good. I want to remove it, but it feels good. I'm less excited about Solidarity of Heroes, but the only thing I do like is that it can be done multiple times, right? This spell costs 2 more to cast for each target beyond the first. So you can pay 2 and then 4 and then 6, right? Or is it 2, 4, 4, 4, 4? Like, I would imagine 2 more each time. I really only want it for my commander, but I guess I could pay 2 additional to double counters on something else if it had counters. But I feel like this is more beneficial in a deck that has counters on a lot of things, where in this deck the only thing I'm getting is counters on my commander. So this would double the amount of counters on my commander alone. The only time I see this as super beneficial is if, like, let's say I have, like, I don't know, 5 counters on him and he becomes a 10/10. Let's say somebody declares no blocks, then I cast this instant and it doubles the counters and he's 20. If they've already taken damage from him, they die to commander. But I don't know how beneficial it is to just double the number of counters on my commander alone. Hey Stradivarius, I am working on Isu the Abominable. It is, I just pulled it last night in a Jumpstart pack, and I'm really excited about it, so I built him immediately. As soon as I pulled him, I sorted out the Jumpstart packs, and I built this deck immediately. I'm 15 cards over, so I'm trying to narrow down, and that's like the hardest thing I've ever done. So I hate narrowing down, but this one especially because I've never played a snow deck. I have 36 lands, 10 enchantments, 9 artifacts, 12 instants. I had 14, I already deleted 2. 12 sorceries, and 35 creatures. I need to dwindle down. I feel like 14 instants was a lot, so I'm starting to cut instants, and then sorceries, and then creatures, and then see where I'm at. I feel good about the number of artifacts and enchantments, though. I think Solidarity of Heroes maybe move to considering, because it will double the number of counters on my commander, but my commander's the only one getting counters. So this gives hexproof and indestructible. This gives indestructible. This gives indestructible. And this gives indestructible. It's a good one, Heroic Intervention. But I feel like with all of the things that I have in there, I don't super need it. I'm going to move it to considering for now. I can always add it back. And this also makes me comfortable because the color identity of the commander is blue. At least it has blue pips and it has white and green in its subtext. So I don't want it to be green heavy or green heaviest because I think it should be blue and white. It's a snow deck, right? I think green should be really purposeful and utilitarian in this and not the majority. So we have 3 green enchantments, 1 green instant. Let's look at sorceries. I think 12 is a lot. All right. I'll show you the landfall things that I have in here. A couple months for Megatron Colossus? Why? Why is it going to take that long? Where did you order from? By the way, I know my Nightbot pops up with all of my affiliate links and things like that, and I have my affiliate links scrolling through, but I have added a couple more recently that I haven't updated on my stream. So as you see, I'm an affiliate with Dragon Shield, I'm an affiliate with TCG Player, Pinfinity AR, and Inked Gaming. So if you need to make any purchases for yourself or for the holidays, feel free to click on my link tree, and all of my affiliate codes are there. So if you're buying singles or product, buy from TCG Player. If you're buying custom dice bags, playmats, or any kind of like other games, please take a look at Inked Gaming. They have tons and tons of amazing product on their website, and use my affiliate code. And Dragon Shield, honestly, my absolute favorite sleeves to ever use. I always use them. And I also, if you noticed earlier, I was using Dragon Shield playmat, which has stitched edges and is just amazing quality. I've never had a Dragon Shield mat before, so I'm really happy that they sent me some because I always use their sleeves, but I didn't use anything else. And now I'm using their playmats and I'm loving them. But yeah, I love their sleeves, and they do have a custom sleeve maker. Shannable ordered custom sleeves and used my code. Thank you so much, Shannable. I really appreciate it. So I'm super grateful for my friends bookmarking all those codes. The 2 things that I've added recently that I have not added to my links are an energy drink called Nerd Focus, and it's actually really cute. It has this cute little like spiky haired glasses dude on the label, and they have a distributor in New Jersey, though they're based in another state. They are US. It's a kind of like growing small business. They only have 1 drink so far. It's a regular and a sugar-free. It's cherry flavored, and it's infused with a lot of stuff to help you kind of maximize your brain power, focus better, and it is an energy drink. And I have an affiliate code with them and a little discount code for you if you're into energy drinks and if you want to check it out. I'm actually going to post on Twitter the label from the can so that people can see what's in it and all that stuff. But that's new. And I also didn't want to promote it until I tried it myself. I just received a bunch 2 packs the other day, and I started drinking them, and I love them. They are really, really tasty. And I'm super happy to be affiliated with them. And the last affiliate ship that I recently acquired was like a gamer dating website. So if you are looking to try a dating website that is meant for people that are into the same hobbies as you, or if you're looking for somebody who is also a gamer or somebody who's interested in like gaming specifically, this dating website looked super, super interesting to me. And you know, if you're looking to date and looking to get out there, this looks like a really good option for people who are maybe introverted or maybe just like to chill and like not really into like the bar or club scene or things like that. Like, it's like, where do you meet people? Where do you meet people that find same common interests, right? So yeah, I came across this website. I've really enjoyed it, and I applied to be an affiliate and I was accepted. So I'm super proud to be an affiliate with all of these amazing companies who have put their faith in me. So if you are looking into getting any of those products or any of those services, please use my code. Everything is in my link tree. So if you don't see specific links pop up just yet, I'm still setting those up, but my link tree has everything. And Dragon Shield, I have a code for US and for Europe. So depending on where you are or where you're shipping to, I have a code for either. So please utilize them. Stradivarius is a secret layer, so I assume it'll be a couple months. Yes, I can relate to that. I wasn't sure what has been out already, and you know, in terms of like the Transformers and things like that, and what hasn't. So Vorel of the Hull Clade might be better than Solidarity of Heroes. Less surprised, but repeatable. Might not be worth just for your commander, though. Yeah, that was my issue. I don't... Oh, Blightsteel. I love Blightsteel. Bless my heart. Yeah, I don't want to waste... And I use waste... Waste sounds bad, but I don't want to waste a card in my deck that's just going to protect one thing, really, or benefit one thing, when ideally the card is meant to benefit many things. You know, like if you're running a counters deck and it adds counters to everything, great. But if it's only adding counters to the one thing I have that has counters on it, it seems almost like not that great to put in, you know? And it also makes me a target. If I'm doubling the counters on my commander, everybody's going to be like, fuck, you know? So, is it wise? Let's take a look at sorceries. We have 12 sorceries. I still feel like 10 instants is a lot, but I need to not stare at it for too long. I'm going to move on to something else. We can always go back to it. We have to remove 13 things. And again, we can look at enchantments. I have 10, which I feel is fine, but we can look at them again. Also, am I talking too loud? Because I'm very close to the mic, so I'm like unaware of how loud I am. Please let me know. I have updated the channel points on my stream. So if you haven't seen, I'm running a rewards and challenges multiplier. If I reach a certain goal within the next 30 days, I will stream an arena game. I'm not an arena player. I have played it when I first started learning Magic, just to learn how to block and attack and how that worked. But I want to get back into arena Magic, and I want to stream it because it's fun, but I also know that I'm going to be really bad at it. So, you know, because I don't play that format, and I haven't played arena in so long, and it's never been part of my Magic journey. But if I reach my goal in 30 days, I will stream an arena game, whether I'm bad or not. So if you want to see that happen, feel free to donate bits or subs or anything like that, and it'll help me raise to my goal. Also, the challenges, I think, I'm not sure, but maybe using channel points kind of helps as well. I have the standard, like, highlight my message, posture check, stretch. I've added blow a kiss, unlock a random sub, speak in Spanish. So I can speak in Spanish. Usually in gameplay it's for a turn, but I can speak in Spanish for a little while. Choose an emote. Ask me anything. So for 500 points, you can ask me anything you like. 600 points, use a streamer voice, which is, people have told me that my streamer voice sounds like Ash Ketchum. So it's either, you know, whatever you like, use a streamer voice or, talk like Ash Ketchum. For 800 points, ASMR. So that's what reminded me. I was asking if I was talking too loudly into the microphone. So I've added ASMR to encourage me to whisper every now and then because I'm a loud talker. If I'm playing a game, 1,000 points will let you choose whether the players get to draw a card or make a treasure. For 1,500 points, the players cannot speak for a turn. They have to take their turn in silence. For 2,000 points, you can ban a word and choose a punishment for the player if they use the word. So either the player discards a card or, you know, something happens. It says, ban a word in game for 2 turns. If a player says the word, choose discard a card from hand or discard a creature from the battlefield. And type the word that you want banned. So for 2 turns, that person cannot use that word or they face a punishment. And for 5,000 points, which I feel is a little too light, I might raise that, you can choose a player to skip a turn. So you can skip a player's turn, which is nasty. But yeah. Shannibal says arena stinks. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't play it. So, you know, but people love it and people stream it a lot and it's very watchable. So, yeah. Yeah, Stradivarius. It's a good effort, but I'm not speaking in Spanish unless you pay the points. Ha ha ha. I'm actually brushing up on my French in Duolingo. I took French for 4 years when I was younger, and I collect foreign language magic cards, and I collect romance languages, so stuff that I can read and understand. I collect cards that are written in Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese. I can read all that and understand it. Even though I have not spoken French, I'm out of practice. I signed up for Duolingo, and when you sign up, it asks you, have you ever learned this language before, or whatever. So I said yes. And it gave me like a proficiency test, and it said, let's see, you know, like what level you place in. And I only got 2 wrong on the proficiency test, so they placed me in unit 27, which I was like intimidated by because I was like, oh God, I don't know, I should brush up on the earlier stuff. But as I'm doing it, it's like I remember it all. I can understand it. So I can't think in French enough to speak more than like the capability of a 2-year-old, you know? But if I read it, I know what I'm reading. I can translate it. And I can conjugate it. I know if it's like, you know, we, you, him, her, you know, like I know what I'm reading. And the tense of, I know if it's past tense, future tense, all that. Like I can look at it and read it and I know what I'm reading. But, and if somebody speaks to me, I understand what they're saying. I hear it in my mind's eye and I'm like, yes, I know what you're saying. But I can't respond. The words don't come to my head. If I had them on paper and I could choose like from a word bank, then I'd be like, this is what I want to say. But I can't think in French yet. So I'm trying to brush up that skill because I am so close, you know, like I have such a good understanding, but I can't think in French and I don't practice it. There's nobody around me that speaks French. So like, who would I practice with, you know? But yeah, I'm really proud that I have that like retaining for that long. Anywho, sorceries. I'm wary of removing the snow permanents. So if I need to, please encourage me to. But at the moment, I'm trying not to have to remove the snow permanents. So we have Blessing of Frost. It is a snow permanent even though it's green. Distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of creatures you control, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell, and then draw a card for each creature you control with a power 4 or greater. So it costs 4 if I use 4 snow. I can distribute 4 1/1 counters onto anything or any number of things, and then I can draw however many cards as long as I have 4 power creatures or greater. So I like it. I feel like this is good. Blizzard Brawl. It's only a 1-drop, so a snow sorcery that costs 1. I don't even care what it does. I think it's great. Choose target creature. It's basically, I could just play this 1-drop no matter what the fuck it does and put a 1/1 counter on my commander. You know, like, I'll pay that. That's fine. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, which I will, the creature you control gets +1 and gains indestructible, and then those creatures fight each other. So you can easily remove something a little smaller. Your creature's going to have indestructible anyway. So at worst, it's just going to buff your commander for 1, right? I have Farseek. Search your library for plains, island, swamp, or mountain. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. It costs 2. I feel like it's not that great. I'm going to move it to considering. I'm going to just trust my gut. It's not that great. Stradivarius says lose Serum Visions. What's Serum Visions in? Is that creature? No. Enchantment? I'm not seeing it. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Sorry. I got it. It's a sorcery. Draw a card, scry 2. Yeah, I just really wanted card draw. But I guess it's not that bad. It's not that great. I'm going to move it to considering. I'm trusting. Okay. Yeah, the Shanable says it's great if you're grabbing shocks. So I have these that are Forest Plains, Forest Island, you know, like I purposely put things that are listed as a forest or plains or whatever so that I could be able to search for them specifically. But you know, and I could search for like the one thing I need if I'm short something or whatever. But it's something that's not a snow, so it's not giving me a lot of benefit in the synergy of the deck. And it's taking up space. I need to cut down, right? So like, yeah, it's a good card, but is it like the most amazing card for my deck? No. At this point, I need to cut 11 more cards. These 11 cards, if they're not propelling an amazing thing in my deck, they need to go. So that's something we need to focus on. The cost of my commander is 5. And Stradivarius, I will tell you why. The cost of my commander is 5, but there's 2 blue pips. So Jeweled Lotus creates 3 mana of 1 color, right? So if your commander has heavy pips of the same color or is a monocolor commander, it's beneficial, first of all. Second of all, it costs 5 to cast, which is already a little pricey for a commander. And third of all, this is a commander that's going to be Voltron and hopefully indestructible and hexproof and things like that. So, and trample and all kinds of stuff. I have things in there that are going to make this commander sick. So I'm imagining that the commander's probably going to be removed. So if I get a Jeweled Lotus turn 1, great, I can cast them early, right? Because if I play like, I don't know, a land, a Soul Ring, and a Jeweled Lotus, I get him out turn 1, which is nasty. But if I don't have a Jeweled Lotus turn 1 and I have it late game and he gets removed constantly, then I'll be able to afford the recast cost with the Jeweled Lotus. So that was my strategy in including it. I also do have a Jeweled Lotus, so while it is a pricey card and it's driving up the cost of my deck overall, it is a card that I already have. So not something that I need to invest a lot in purchasing. Also, my deck was well over $600 when we started. It is now at $580, so we've already cut some pricier things, which is nice. Yeah, I would like to keep Jeweled Lotus. If it comes down to the wire and we have like one more cut that we need to make, it can probably go. But it occurred to me and I added it. And at the moment, if we can keep it, I'd like to keep it. But also, when I'm removing things, I'm not removing them completely. I'm moving them to considering because I don't want to forget what things I considered at one point or another, right? And if I decide while I'm playtesting that Jeweled Lotus is doing nothing for me, then I'll remove it and I'll swap it out with something else that we considered, right? So at the moment, I'd like to keep Jeweled Lotus, though I'm not completely married to it. I'm happy to remove it if we're down to the wire and we need to make a cut or two and we don't know what the fuck to cut. Let's cut Jeweled Lotus. And then, you know, whatever. But if I can play test it with Jeweled Lotus and see what the benefit is, that would really make me feel more comfortable about what to swap out for it. If that makes sense. Okay, Into the North. Search your library for a Snowland card and put it into play tapped, then shuffle your library. I think that's great because it'll fetch more, like, it'll fetch bigger Snowlands, like Dark Depths, Faceless Haven. Yeah, there's a lot of really good Snowlands in here. And that one only costs 1. Where is it? There it is. 2, sorry. That one costs 2. So it's weird that it's not a snow sorcery. I wish it was, because it feels like the right thing to do, right? You're searching for a snowland. Why wouldn't it be a snow sorcery? That's so silly. This one is. This one is. Why isn't this one? But I don't know. It feels right, so I'm going to keep it for now. I have a Nature's Lore. Search your library for a forest card, put that card into the battlefield, and then shuffle. At the moment, I'm still kind of even Stevens with blue and green, so I feel like searching for a forest is still wise. Though they did keyword sorcery. There's snow sorceries here. Snow sorcery, snow sorcery. Snow sorcery. There's 3 snow sorceries in here. I don't know why they didn't make this one a snow sorcery. It's weird. Hold on, wait. Shanable is saying Chiller Pillar. Oh, okay. Chiller Pillar I talked about last night. I'm gonna get to it. I'm not at creatures yet. I'm doing sorceries first, but I'll get to it. I promise. Yeah, Stradivarius, you are speaking a different language. I know you said not in Cold Snap. It's an older set. I started at Strixhaven, so I know very little of older sets. Like, especially way older sets. Like, I know some of, like Ikoria and Ixalan and, you know, gosh, what was, War of the Spark. Right? Like, I know some of the things that were, like, just before my time, but things that are, like, way far, I don't really know very much about. I know some because I've done some, like, Chaos Draft and some, like, purchasing of old packs just for funsies, you know, like Fallen Empire and, oh, gosh, what is it? Like, oh man, it's escaping me. I could see Battle Bond. I was like, I could see the label. I could see the pack. Battle Bond. Like, I've done some purchasing of singles, so I'm, like, familiar with names of, but I don't really know, like, time periods or sets that are from farther back than, like, what I've just mentioned, because I'm still super new. So I have fully immersed myself and dedicated lots of time to the game and lots of time to learning, but there's still so much I have to learn. So, you know, forgive my ignorance, but I appreciate you explaining to me, because this is how I learn, and this is like so essential to me and my betterment as a player. I really don't know these things. So, to me, I see that some of these are called snow sorceries and this one is not. So I'm like, why? You know, like in my mind, I'm like, if they introduce snows and they're calling things snow sorcery, snow instant, snow, like, why would this one not be, you know? So I'm appreciative of you being able to like explain that to me. Cold Snap was back in the early 2000s. They really only put subtypes on permanent. They really only put subtypes on permanents back then. I've been with the game since 94 and don't mind explaining. Awesome. I was definitely old enough to play the game at the time, but I didn't. Shannibal, thank you so much for joining and thank you for your input. I appreciate you. Have a good night and let's talk more about that beer, because I'm 100% down to like go pick some stuff up at breweries. I'll pick some stuff up at yours, pick some stuff up at mine, and we'll swap, right? Love you, friend. Thank you so much for chatting and for your input. Super valuable. Thank you. Yeah, in the 90s, when I was in elementary school, I mean, I grew up in an urban neighborhood, so a lot of my population was super diverse, right? I had friends from all walks of life and all kinds of ethnicities, but at the time, really in the 90s, Magic was a very white male dominated game, so it was very unusual to see it being played in more like urban neighborhoods and by more diverse crowds of people, right? It has since really grown and really evolved, and the audience for Magic has really changed throughout the years. And, you know, now there's a lot more women playing, there's a lot more marginalized genders playing, there's a lot more folks of different ethnicities, different races and backgrounds, and even different generations playing and different socioeconomic status, which is huge, you know, because it's not the cheapest game, but there are formats that are budgetable for folks. So it's a great way to get into the game, and if you're getting into the right formats. But yeah, in the 90s, while I was old enough to be able to play at that time, I wasn't exposed to it. I wasn't exposed to it until I actually was exposed to D&D first in high school. And at the time I was like, wow, that's for nerds, right? Like, because you're high school and you're stereotyping and whatever. And like, I just had no understanding of what it was. Meanwhile, I was in like musical theater, and it's like, and a poetry club. So it's like, I was already a nerd and I was judging D&D folk like, that's for nerds. And I'm like, I'm a fucking nerd. Hello. And I wore like Dragon Ball Z t-shirts to school, and I was like, nerd, you're playing D&D. And I'm like, well, I'm one of you. So, yeah, I knew what D&D was. I didn't know what Magic was really until like post-college, really. And I wanted to learn so bad, and there was nobody to teach me. And there was somebody in my master's program that knew how to play, but was a really awful teacher and didn't do a good enough job at teaching me. So I bought a bunch of cards. They sat there. I never learned. And then just about post-pandemic, when things started opening back up again, I started going to my LGS. I had already played board games there, so I knew they sold Magic product. And I went to my LGS and I said, I want to learn how to play Magic. Like, how can I do that? And they were like, well, Friday nights we have people play. They'll be happy to teach you. And I was like, cool. Where do I start? And they were like, well, the popular format right now is Commander, and you can buy these decks that are pre-built. So what kind of game do you think you might like to play? Do you want to attack heavy? Do you want to protect heavy? Do you want to do this? You know, like, they kind of framed it in such a way where they were like, what kind of game do you like? And what do you think you'd like to play more of? So I made my choice, and I bought a couple decks, I think, to give me some variety and figure it out. I ended up really loving the Orzhov deck. So, yeah, that's where I learned. Stradivarius, I'm catching up on your comments. Gamer dating can be difficult. I don't really live near large dating communities in Arkansas. There are only a few smaller Magic communities. The Teenager Double Standard Classic, yep. Commander isn't the easiest format to learn, but it's the most fun to play. Well, obviously that's subjective, but I found it a great place to start, honestly. It is certainly not the easiest to learn, for sure. But I feel that Magic in general appeals to a certain intellect. If you're a dum-dum, you're not going to like Magic. It's a smart people's game. It's very verbose. It's very wordy. It's very strategic. It's very designed for folks that are higher level thinkers. And I knew that I was going to be surrounded by folks that were in a mindset that I wanted to be surrounded by. So I really, really was excited to learn how to play this. I liked the verbosity of it. And, you know, I didn't really know what formats were aside from Commander, because that's kind of where I started. And now, in retrospect, now looking at what I know about other formats, I know that 1v1 tends to be very aggressive and very spiky, where 4-player games like Commander are maybe a little less so. Sometimes they're political, sometimes they're working the table, and you know, there's so many different strategies that come into play that are much more useful in a game of Commander that are less so in 1v1 formats. So I really like that I learned on Commander. I think that's so beneficial. But yeah, you do have more people to help you learn during a game, as long as you're the only new player in the pod. Yeah, I often was the only new player in the pod, and I found that people were very patient with me and very helpful. So I got really lucky. My LGS is fantastic. I play at Highlander Games in Boonton, New Jersey, and they often sponsor abilities for me when I have to travel to events and things like that. And I have found a really, really, really great community there. So I'm very fortunate. They've taught me a lot of what I know. And once I found the Magic community online, I learned even more. So I'm grateful for everyone I've met in Magic. It's fantastic. All right. Sorceries. I've digressed. Into the north. Search your library for snow land. I like it. I wish it was a snow sorcery, but I like it anyway. Nature's Lore. Search your library for forest card. Alright. I feel like the one I got rid of was better than Nature's Lore. The Farseek. Because this searches for different things. So I'd rather keep Farseek than Nature's Lore. Because Farseek searches for whatever I need, where Nature's Lore, for the same price, only searches for a forest. The only benefit is that it comes onto the battlefield untapped. But, you know, for one mana untapped, I don't know that I need that much. Overwhelming Stampede until the end of turn. Who was that? Who that is? I heard a beep. Hey, a lowly fool. Thank you for following. Welcome in. Boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Overwhelming Stampede. Until the end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. I feel like that's really good. Is it essential? I don't know, but I feel like it's really good, so I'm going to keep it for now. I have Ponder, I have Preordain, and I had the big trio in here, but I did take some stuff out, so. Alright, Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library and draw a card. Scry 2 and draw a card. I like being able to draw cards. Especially if it's a card that's on top that's not a snow permanent, because then I can't cast it off of Isu. If it's not a snow permanent, I want to be able to draw it. So I like these extra little draw cards because it helps me bypass anything that's not a snow permanent. Even though I don't have a lot, it helps me bypass. Rampant Growth. Search your library for a basic land card, put that card into the battlefield, and tapped and shuffle. This and Farseek kind of do the same thing. I don't know if I need both. This one only searches a forest. I'm gonna get rid of it. This one searches the library for a snow permanent, a legendary card, or a saga. That's amazing. You gain 1 life for each snow mana spent to cast it. I think that's pretty great. I don't know. Okay. I still feel like 9 is a lot of sorceries. Overwhelming Stampede is a great finisher. But is it amazing? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Ugh, this is so hard. I have to cut 10 more things. I've been doing this for like an hour. I cannot cut. Okay, hold on. I'm catching up with the chat. Farseek is a great card. It can get any of your snow duels as long as they have a non-forest basic land type. I'd keep for now. Overwhelming Stampede is a great finisher. It's funny, we chose the same words. I didn't even see that when I said it. What is the second instant? I'd consider keeping Nature's Lore over Rampant Growth. Rampant Growth can only get you a basic, but Nature's Lore can get you any forest out of your deck. Yeah. I agree. Okay, Rampant Growth is basic. Oh, did I take out Nature's Lore? Is that what I did? Am I a dum-dum? I did. You're right. I knew I wanted to cut one or the other. I chose the wrong one. Sorcery, Rampant Growth. Okay. Good looking out. Thank you, Stradivarius. Grim Illusions, thank you. 3 visits also gets any forest instead of just basics. Yeah, I just don't want too many things that do the same things. Like, it's nice, but it's not benefiting my commander. It's not propelling the synergy because I don't want too many permanents that are not snow permanents. I want the permanents that are not snow permanents to be very essential. So in my 9 sorceries, I have 3 that are snow permanents, 1 that deals with snow permanents, so we'll consider it 4, and 5 that are non-snow. In my instance, everything except 1 is non-snow. So we have 9 instants that are non-snow. In my artifacts, we have 6 artifacts that are 5 artifacts that are non-snow. 5 out of 9. And in my enchantments, 5 out of 10 are snow. So, you know, I want to keep the ratio clean. I want to have more snow permanents than not, whenever possible. Overwhelming Stampede is a fantastic finisher, but, man, I'm struggling. The commander doesn't deal with permanents. It's just snow spells. It says whenever... Oh, sorry. Rather, the permanents give my commander 1/1, but I can play snow spells off the top at any time. So I don't have to play just permanents off the top. I can play whatever off the top, as long as it's snow, at any time. But the permanents give him +1/+1. And I have to be able to pay an additional mana for that snow permanent to give my commander a +1. But it can be any mana. Yeah, this is a new card. It's tricky to remember, but it says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play snow lands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. Whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield, you may pay green, white, or blue, and if you do, put a 1/1 counter on the commander. So permanents give him counters if you can pay for them, but you can cast anything off the top, as long as it's snow. I feel really good about these. Maybe I'll cut one of these. Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards. Put them back in any order. Draw a card. Scry 2 and draw a card. Do I want to scry 2? Or look at the top 3? Do I want both? I don't know that I need both. I'm going to keep Preordained because it's cheaper. I'm going to move Ponder to Considering. Then we have 8 sorceries. Now we only have 109. We have 9 to cut. Oh, it's so hard. Okay, equipped creature can be blocked. Trample. Play additional land. Trample. I'm gonna get rid of Audacity. Alright, we're down to 108. We're getting there, we're getting there. Alright, now we have 35 creatures, which feels like a lot. We have to cut 8 cards. Alright. Yeah, let's try to cut 4 creatures. That feels good. Alright. We've got a lot of snow creatures in here, and some that are not. The things that are not are specifically useful. So, lots and lots of snow creatures, which is great. I love that. Yeah, so far, I think the only non-snow is Azusa, which will cast lands. I think everything else is a snow creature, which is great. So, whatever we get rid of is just excess here. Alright. The Tree Folk, I think, is good. It's got Trample, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of snow permanents you control, which is going to be insane. I love Flyers. When target creature other than the Valkyrie dies this turn, return that card to the battlefield. Fantastic. The Wind form costs 5, which is a lot. And then you can make something lose flying. It's a little pricey. I'm going to put it to considering. I can always put it back. Ascendant Spirit. This does a bunch of things which I like, so let's keep it for now. 1/3 for 2. Pay 2. Target snowland you control becomes a 4/4 elemental with hexproof and haste. Not bad. Azusa we're keeping. Bergstrider enters the battlefield. Tap a target, artifact, or creature an opponent controls. If snow was spent to cast the spell, that permanent doesn't untap during its controller's next untap. It's pretty good. It's 5-drop, but it's a 4/4 and it does something. So, Blizzard Strix. When it ETBs, if you control another snow permanent, exile target permanent other than it. Return that card to the battlefield under its control at the beginning of the next end step. So either you can blink something or you can get rid of something for a turn, which is not terrible. It's costly, but it's not terrible. And I love Flyers. So that's a maybe. Boreal Centaur costs 2 to cast. Pay a snow mana, and it gets 1/1 until the end of turn. Play this ability only once each turn. Basically, it doesn't do much for me. It just is a snow permanent. So it either allows me to get a 1/1 counter on my commander and have a blocker for 2, or it's wasting space. So I don't really know. I don't love it, but it's something, you know. I like this one. It adds a mana to my mana pool. Pay 5 for a 3/2 flyer. Pay 1. And it gains first strike until the end of turn. Is it great? No. But it's a snow permanent, and I like Flyers. Ugh, I don't know. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter. That's good. I like that. Chiller Pillar is 4 or 6 if you want to give it monstrous. As long as it's monstrous, it has flying. It is a little expensive. Let's consider it. You like the strip flying over first strike. Boreal. Alright, I'll move it to considering for now. I can always put it back if we're under at the end of this. Boreal Outrider. I like that one. Snow creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. Okay. It's a lot to cast, but it's a good late game card. Frost Augur, it only costs 1, and you can look at the top card of your library, which you can do anyway with your commander. If it's a snow card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So that's cool, because I'm going to be revealing fucking snow cards all the time. So that's great. If I can't afford to play it with my commander, at least I can put it into hand. Pay 1 and put it into hand. Can't be the target of any spells or abilities this turn, and it's flyer. So that's good. Frostpeak Yeti can't be blocked. Frost Walla gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. Frost Web Spider gets reach. Whenever it blocks a creature with flying, it gets a 1/1 counter at the end of combat. When Icefang Quaddle enters the battlefield, draw a card. That's good. It has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents, which I will. Whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player put the top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard. That's good for only 2. It's a 0/4, so it's not attacking, but it's doing something. Which one did you say to cut if I'm down to 1? The Frost Augur. Okay, Frost Augur. Gotta keep that in mind. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control. So yes, it costs 12 to cast, but if the more snow permanents I have, the less it costs to cast. When ETBs, artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during that player's next untap. Return 3 snow lands you control to their owner's hand, and you can return the Kraken to its owner's hand. So if it gets targeted, I can return 3 lands and bounce it back to hand, and then just play it for free if I have 12 permanents, snow lands. This is just a 1-drop 2/2. I can pay 2 snow to give it +2 and indestructible until the end of turn and tap it. Morit of the Frost is a changeling. I like this card. I read it yesterday and I like it. I'm going to keep it. Orin Frostfang. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I like that. Orin Viper. When it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. I love those. Love both of those. And this one is just draw a card and discard a card, and it has flying. Like that. Untap a snow permanent. I like that. Power and toughness are equal to the number of snow permanents in play. It's perfect. Settled Rhyme Stag gets +2/+2 as long as you had another creature enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's fine. Untap target snowland. When Spirit of Aldergard enters the battlefield, search your library for a snowland card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Yeah, that's good. Tap target creature for 1. That's great. I love the Wall of Shards. Wall of Shards is perfect. Okay, so let's get rid of Frost Augur, and let's get rid of... Was it Ice Hydro? I think it was Ice Hydro. Yeah. All right, 3 more. What? I love Wall of Shards. You want to get rid of Wall of Shards? I mean, yeah, you're giving an opponent life, but like, no? All right. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you, Strad. If I lose with this deck, I'm going to be like, it's Stradivarius' fault. Rhyme Stag is fine. We can move it to considering. Alright, we're at 28 creatures, which I feel is good. We only need to cut 1 more card. Where can we cut this card? Do you think we should cut the Jeweled Lotus? Because I'm worried. I feel like it's a really good card in this. I feel like I could cut a land and just be at a nice even 35. We've put 27 in considering. So there's plenty of stuff that's essentially sideboarded. We're at 15% white, 42 blue, and 38 green. The instants we have 10. We have an Achrome as well. Plays for free if your commander is out. Gives creatures flying, vigilance, double strike, lifelink, and indestructible, and protection from all colors. We have an Arcane Denial. Counter target spell. That spell's caster may draw up to 2 cards, and then I also draw a card. Delay. Counter target spell. If the spell is countered this way, exile it with 3-time counters on it. Fierce Guardianship. If your commander is out, cast for free. Counter target non-creature spell. Flawless Maneuver. You may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Cast for free. Creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. Graven Lore. If I pay five snow permanents for it, I can scry 5 and then draw 3 cards. Path to Exile, of course. Exile creatures and search for basic. Swan Song. Counter. Target enchantment, instant, or sorcery. Its controller creates a 2/2 bird. Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible, and you gain 2 life. And Teferi's Protection. I feel like those instants are really good. The second instant is Arcane Denial. You would cut either Delay, Boreal Druid. What's Boreal Druid? I don't know why the foil is so much. It's a $3 card. The foil's 35. It's crazy. Because, okay, if I look at view options, mana type. If I look at my mana curve, right, there's that one card that's 12 mana, but it's discounted for every snow permanent you control, right? So it's not really 12 mana. The one card with 7 mana also, it's not discounted, but it's given plus X the number of snow permanents you control. So it's really good value. You're paying 7 for it, but you may get a 20/20 creature out of it, you know? The 6 is the Valkyrie. So it's a flying vigilance 4/5. And you can tap it when another creature dies, you can return it to the battlefield. So that's pretty sick too. Otherwise, everything is 5 or less, with the majority being in the 3/2/1 area. So I feel safe cutting a land. That one's green. That one's green. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, white, white, white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12. Okay, I have 12 duels that deal with white, and white is my least played color, so I can probably cut something that's white and green. So this is Temple Gardens. Enters the battlefield. You may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. I don't like that. This enters tapped, and you can cycle 2. This one just enters tapped, no condition. This one enters tapped, also no condition. Okay. So I either want to get rid of Arctic Flats or Radiant Grove. Arctic Flats is a snowland, but Radiant Grove is a forest plains. Or do I want to get rid of Temple Gardens? I guess Radiant Grove might be the best one. I don't think, you know, you're right. I don't think there's enough card draw to make Reliquary Tower useful. The only thing is I generally run a Reliquary Tower in every deck in case somebody else's deck makes me draw cards. Then I don't want to have to discard down. I like having no max hand size options in my decks. I'll probably get rid of Radiant Grove. So I'll keep the snow. And I'm at 100. We've done it. Thank you so much for helping me. Everyone who helped me, and especially Stradivarius. Thank you so much. I have 2 more decks that I need to narrow down. I have a new Captain Sisay deck that I built as a Ajani affinity for Ajani, but also some other planeswalkers, but mostly Ajani. And I have to cut 35 cards from this deck. It is in my Mox field, so you are welcome to take a look at it. And you can leave comments on decks in Moxfield. You can scroll to the bottom and there's a place for you to leave a comment on a deck. I own this deck, so I don't really see like the commenting view just now. But if you leave a comment, I'll see it and you can tell me what you would cut. I also, because I make Cat Daddy, I had to make Cat Mommy. So I made a Kembaka Regent Cat Mommy deck, and this is also Voltron in the sense that it is attaching equipments. So at the beginning of your upkeep, create 2/2 white cat creature token for each equipment attached to her. So at the moment there are 65 artifacts in the deck, and I need to cut quite a bit. So we are at 145 main board, and I need to cut 45 cards, a significant amount. So this one does have 36 lands only because one is Urza's Saga. Typically I put 35 lands in, but because this one's going to come and go, I put 36. But yeah, mostly because constructs are artifacts and we want artifacts in this. And I've only got 19 creatures, which is great. 4 planeswalkers. But I've got to cut some artifacts. Heavy. So I would be really happy. Actually, I'm going to list it. I don't know why it's unlisted. I would be super happy if somebody could help me out in narrowing down my Captain Sisay and my Kemika. Isu took a lot of time. I was hoping to get to some of my other decks today, but Isu is all we had time for. But I am super happy that we got there with Isu, which is really fun. For Kemika, Stradivarius is asking if Cathar's Crusade is in it. I don't think it is. I have Cathar's in a ton of stuff, but I don't think I did not put it in here. I play a lot of mono white, and again, I don't want to just fill it with a ton of stuff that I always do. But yeah, here it is. I don't know that Cathar's Crusade is super essential here because it's put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and I'm not really going creature heavy except for the 2/2s, but yeah, I guess it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, like I put a Loyal Unicorn in, but I also put a Dolmen Gate. They kind of do the same thing, but Loyal Unicorn also gives everything vigilance. So I'm having a hard time like choosing one or the other, and there's a lot in here that I need to iron out, and this is probably going to be like another hour of work. I think building is super easy now for me, but narrowing down is super tough. So Isu took me a lot longer than I thought, but I'm super happy we got there. So I just built an Elas deck. I played it on the Commander RC for the first time. I play tested it and it won. So I'm really happy with how it's performing right now. That took me a really long time to narrow down. I was at like 200 cards with it, and it took me a really long time to narrow down. But that is finally done. And I kept some stuff in the considering, 66 cards in considering, just in case I want to swap some things out as I play it. But, yeah, Elis and Isu are done. Captain Sisei, slash Ajani, and Kembaka Regent are the next two to go. So the next time I stream, I will be narrowing Sisei and Kemba, but please feel free to take a look at those lists and let me know what you think. I am going to send a raid. I know there's not too many of us. It's a little late. It's 3:20 a.m. for me, and I'm sure for most of you. But I'm going to send a raid over to my friend Krim, the Asian Avenger, who is playing Magic the Gathering, and likely it is Arena. I don't know exactly what he's playing, but I'm going to go ahead and raid Krim. And thank you everyone who followed, who bookmarked my affiliate links and my pages, who helped me out with making cuts in my deck list. This is like the bane of my existence. It's so hard for me. I just want to keep everything. So thank you so much to everyone who has laid eyes on these things and helped me out so much. I really appreciate you. Let's send the raid over to Krim and say hello. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon because we got to edit down 2 more decks. So thanks for your help. Bye.